By the early 1940s, British covert operations followed a simple rule. If a weapon drew attention, it had failed. Agents operating behind enemy lines did not need firepower. They needed control. A single loud sound could expose safe houses, contacts, and entire resistance networks. One mistake could collapse months of planning in seconds. In this kind of war, silence was not about stealth. It was about stopping everything from falling apart. Standard firearms were a liability in these conditions. Even early suppressed weapons were still too loud. Mechanical movement gave them away. Muzzle flash raised suspicion. The sound of a cycling action could trigger patrols, searches, and reprisals. British planners realized they did not need a better version of an existing gun. They needed a different kind of weapon entirely. Not faster, not stronger, just quieter. The result was one of the most unconventional firearms Britain ever produced, the Wellrod. At first glance, it barely looks like a gun. That was intentional. There is no automatic action, no moving slide, no interest in rapid fire. The Wellrod is manually operated. After each shot, the user cycles the bolt themselves. This eliminates one of the loudest parts of a normal firearm. Nothing moves unless the operator chooses it. Nothing makes noise by accident. That decision alone shaped the entire weapon. The Wellrod was designed around a fixed integral suppressor. This was not an attachment added later. It was part of the gun from the beginning. The suppressor is large, heavy, and dominant. It contains multiple internal baffles designed to slow and trap expanding gases. The goal was simple. Prevent the sharp pressure wave that creates a gunshot sound. Materials mattered here. Rubber components were used inside the suppressor. They absorbed vibration. They reduced resonance. They shortened the sound signature even further. Even the ammunition choice was deliberate. Subsonic rounds were used to avoid the sonic crack created when a bullet breaks the sound barrier. No crack, no echo, no obvious direction. Every design decision served the same outcome. Reduce sound, reduce recognition, reduce reaction. The grip itself reflected this thinking. It was simple and cylindrical, more like a tool handle than a pistol grip. The Wellrod was not designed for comfort or prolonged use. It was designed to be held briefly, used once, then concealed or discarded if necessary. This was not a weapon meant to be carried openly. It was meant to be hidden, transported discreetly, used only when there was no safer option. The Wellrod was never intended for extended engagements. It had a very narrow role: close range, controlled conditions, immediate withdrawal, one deliberate action, then disengage. This was not about confrontation. It was about resolving a situation without escalation. If the Wellrod was used correctly, there would be no obvious sign that a weapon had been fired. No panic, no immediate response, no clear understanding of what had just happened. That absence of clarity was the weapon's real strength. Most weapons announce themselves. They create noise. They trigger chaos. They invite pursuit. The Wellrod did the opposite. People nearby often did not realize what they had heard. Some did not realize they had heard anything at all. There was no sharp crack to follow, no clear direction to react to. That confusion bought time, and in covert operations, time was survival. The Wellrod was issued sparingly. It was never standard equipment. It was not designed for mass issue or routine use. It was reserved for very specific people, operating alone, under extreme pressure, with no margin for error. Its effectiveness was measured by absence, no alarms raised, no patrols alerted, no sudden collapse of the operation. When the war ended, weapons like the Wellrod quietly disappeared from public view. They were not paraded, they were not celebrated, they were not mythologized. They had done their job by remaining unnoticed, but their influence endured. The Wellrod demonstrated that in certain kinds of warfare, restraint matters more than power. That engineering can be used to remove chaos rather than create it. that sometimes the most effective weapon is the one that changes nothing around it. In the end, Britain's quietest gun was not really about sound. It was about discipline, about knowing when not to escalate, about controlling a moment rather than dominating it. No noise, no reaction, no trace. That was exactly how it was designed to work.